Support proplaygames on Patreon.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's your captain, Yeehaw, you dumb. And for today's video, we're on the PBG channel doing the classic One Piece gameplay commentary. So for today's video, we're going to be going over a match that happened at our locals where we had Smoker versus Doflamingo. So haven't really seen this match. Usually when I do a recording or anything like that, I'm the one playing it. So I know a lot of information about the game, but in this one, I don't really know what's going on. And we're kind of bottom decking cards, which is kind of interesting. I don't know what's going on. But I chose this match mostly because I think it's a very interesting matchup. It is Flamingo versus Smoker, and honestly, anytime I can see a black deck, I'm excited. So Smoker has I don't know, they have a lot of ground to cover in this matchup in my opinion, more than anything because the fact that Flamingo can go ahead and spam the board makes it so that black has a difficult time really with dealing with their cards. Not only that, if Flamingo can go ahead and finish off their set of turns or their curves with a Mihawk or a 7-drop Flamingo, it's going to be very difficult for black to go ahead and remove it. They're going to have to use a Sakazuki plus a couple cards in order to really get exactly where they want. So the Flamingo player is going to go first, exactly where they want to be, not opening up Corona, not exactly where they don't want to be. And at least they have a law, right? So the law gets met by a Garp, and now Garp is interesting because in this scenario it kind of nullifies the law, so that's going to let him go ahead and be aggressive. He's going to try to blanket off the top, and he gets rewarded. Okay, don't see that every day, but you love to see it. So as the Smoker player, you definitely take this hit here because getting hit for 7 early, if he goes ahead and drops 2 cards from his hand, and he already dropped down the cards, we've dropped 3 out of 6, you'd be down to no cards in hand. And that's not where you want to be as black, right? Because a lot of the effects in black require you to pitch a card. So we're going to go ahead and let's see how the Smoker player handles this turn. He can easily clear the board. The issue is, does the Flamingo player have the Pacifist follow-up? If he has the Pacifist follow-up, it's kind of punishing because the best way to deal with this board state is you go ahead and attach 2 Don to the Garb, make it a 5k, attach 1 Don to the Smoker, trigger Smoker's effect that has now already reduced the law, and make it a 7k, and then swing at the Bartolomeo. So he's going to go ahead and just try to go ahead and 8k the Bart, but if he goes ahead and achieves this attack, he's not going to, he's going to block. So he has to go with the Garb first, swinging 5 at the Kuma blocker, I'm assuming. And we'll see if he goes ahead and defends it. If he defends it, it denotes that he just doesn't. He does. It seems he's pitched a 1k, pitches a Marshall D Teach, and then he's going to go 8 here, which, I mean, there's no way we can defend this unless he drops double 2k, and that's just not happening. Does he have the Pacifist to follow up? He doesn't. So Smoker player looking like they're going to be in a really solid spot. Obviously, like I said earlier, the Flamingo matchup isn't great, but this Flamingo start hasn't been as explosive as they usually are. So it's allowed the Smoker player a little bit of bonus time to set up, which is really, really nice. So we're going to go ahead and swing 7. Are we going to trigger Flamingo's effect? We're going to swing 7 at the Garp. Oh my goodness, that's the best card it could have been. And we're going to go ahead and let the Flamingo resolve entirely before we resolve the attack, but actually we're never defending this anyway, so it doesn't necessarily matter. So we're going to go ahead and just let the Garp go. Then we're going to go ahead and stack the Flamingo blocker here. Flamingo blocker is going to go ahead and let us really set up our next couple of turns. So I assume that the Flamingo player is going to have a powerful, 3 to 4 turns moving on from here. If he doesn't have the Flamingo, he doesn't have the Mihawk 7-drop or 9-drop, he most certainly does now, or at least you would think so. So you kind of have to sort of respect it, play around it, cry about it, really. So we're going to see how he moves forward, right? So the reason I say that's the worst possible card, that Flamingo blocker, is because it's going to go ahead and force black to attack it, and it's also just allowing you to set up a couple turns. So it works as a blocker and as a setup. It does it all. He even keeps up 2 Dawn, which, I mean, if he wants to love beam, you got it, man. I don't really think that's necessary for the Flamingo blocker, but we'll see what the plans are on the upcoming turn. So we're at 6 Dawn as the Smoker player, which is, again, correct. We want to be on the evens. I'm assuming the Smoker player lost the die roll because had I been the Smoker player, I would have elected to go first just to get the first off of the Flamingo player. But this is going to be a very challenging turn. It's going to be a very challenging couple of turns. So we'll go ahead and see a 5-drop Garp. This is just Garp control. Ah, man. Really? Okay, I mean, I don't hate it. He uses Garp's effect to go ahead and make his leader a Whitebeard, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. And then he's going to go ahead and pitch a Meteor Volcano, because Meteor Volcano doesn't really effectively do much, and he goes 6 at lead, and the Flamingo player is just defending him, man. That's crazy. He's at 5 life. He's defended every attack. Interesting. So, as the Flamingo player here, there's a couple things to consider, right? He floated 2 Dawn last turn, so you probably immediately think that he has a Level Up Beam or anything like that. He probably should have checked for the Level Up Beam as a, to try to get cards in hand and then instead of swing 6 at lead. But I mean, it's just a difficult position to be in general. So he's gonna go ahead and drop the Boa, which is bizarre once again, because you really wanted to go like all in on this Garb. Now you're just swinging 7 at 6, and 7 at 6 just ain't it. He did not tap the bonus Dawn to summon the Kuma. I do not believe he's missed. He has 1 Dawn that should be tapped. And the 7 just works, man. This is just unfortunate. Actually a crime. So we're going to have to see how the Smoker player really comes back here. And I think it all comes down to, does he have the 10-drop Kuzan as a stabilizer? If he doesn't have one, I think the Flamingo is just going to run away with this game. But maybe it's just too early to tell. I don't know. Usually when I see situations like this, I'm very quick to say like things have, it's just over or it's not. But we'll have to wait and see what the Smoker player has up his sleeve. So I see him moving his Dawn in an interesting fashion, which denotes a couple of plays, right? He went ahead and pushed 3 Dawn to the side. Now 3 Dawn to the side could mean a couple of things. One of them being a Kobe. That's the immediate first thing that it signifies to me. It can also be the Smoker 3 drop. Now we have 4 Dawn pushed aside. And we're going to go ahead and tap 4. And that's our Borzolino. Borzolino, I'm not sure if it's like late for Borzolino, but it's definitely Borzolino timing. So we're going to go ahead and attach a Dawn under our Smoker. Smoker's going to go ahead and reduce the Boa to a 3 cost. And then he's going to play the Kobe, pitch a card, and then destroy, knock out, if you will, the Boa Hancock. So both of these players should be pretty low in hand size, respectfully, right? The Smoker player just has pitched like 2 cards, 1 on the Garp, 1 on the Kobe. And the Flamingo player has just defended everything. So he must actually be low at this point, right? I'm assuming 2 to 3 cards in hand. For some reason, we went 6 at life there and not at the Kuma. But certainly a bizarre play. Right, now we get immediately just punished by a Mihawk here, right? Because once again, this is something you have to be really cognizant about. If the Smoker was at 8 Dawn last turn, then we're going to 9 as Flamingo. And if you have Mihawk, you just don't even think about it. You just slam Mihawk, tuck the Borzolino, and then go 5-5, personally. You just keep on the aggression. So that's actually something you love to see, because it's not a great card. So we'll see the Flamingo come down, but it is a pseudo Perona, which is interesting since we already Flamingo blocker that acted as a full Perona. So then since we're doing this now, it's a little bit interesting. We're gonna look at the top 3. No? Yes? It looks like we're not. Yeah, okay, so that's fine. We've spent 1 Dawn, we have 8 Dawn available. There's not really an 8 costed card in blue that I can just immediately think of that is detrimental to this game. Okay, he's gonna resolve this effect. I guess he was just thinking a little bit ahead. He's gonna go ahead and look at the top 3, decide what to keep on top, what to go ahead and do with his turn. And then I don't think that 1-drop ever gets to attack or do an effect, because the black deck in general doesn't play into that Flamingo. They don't play many 1-drops unless it's like a Sudu, and honestly, if you're bottom decking a Sudu, what are we doing? So let's see. I mean, that's already a good look for the Smoker player, not getting Mihawked on curve. That's step 1. You didn't get Perona'd on curve, and you didn't get Mihawked. What more can you ask for? So with 8 Dawn, I mean, we can use the leader ability, right? But since we have the Borzolino, we can go ahead and dedicate 4 total Dawn, and then play another 4-drop. We're gonna go ahead and just another Searcher. I hate doing this in the Flamingo deck. The only times I really enjoy doing this sequencing of cards is if when I bottom deck, right? If I go 1 drop, bottom deck, 3 drop. That feels a little bit better because it doesn't seem like we're just double dipping on the search effects, and we're getting the full value of our cards. Sometimes, unfortunately, just by the way the game runs or the game works out, you do have to double dip. But if you don't have to, definitely don't do it. So we're gonna go ahead and yeah, man, this is some true gaming, true gaming. So I love when I see stuff like that. It's really interesting. So what does the smoker player do in this scenario? And another very important or key thing to note that I didn't mention was summoning the 1-drop Flamingo is even worse than it seems, because not only will that card not attack, it will also just not get removed, and it will also give your opponent a 7k leader every turn. So yeah, just a couple reasonings on why I think you should not summon that card in this matchup. But we'll see another Kobe. So once again, dropping cards, and we'll see a Garp now. Now we know officially there are 3 cards in the black player's hand. There's no Kuzan to crutch on. So we're gonna go ahead and use Garp's ability. Garp's gonna go ahead and remove a Sudo from hand. Wow, removing a Sudo for this is kind of crazy. But on the bright side, those Altart Kobe's looking kind of clean, my guy. Sheesh. No Pacifist to punish. I'd love to see it, honestly. And we've invested 8 total Dawn. We can go ahead and put a Dawn under the leader, but there's no reason to just put 1. Might as well put 2. Gonna go ahead and decrease the law, trigger the ability, go to 8k at face. And yeah, 8k at face should be good enough to connect, unless the Flamingo player, and he has 2 Dawn up, and this could signify this is a good time to level up him because he should be pretty low in hand size. Should be able to get both effects off of it. Negate the attack, draw a card should be the move. Regardless of which, the next possible thing that we need to consider is, does the Kobe that can attack? So if the Kobe that can attack can go ahead, and would you trade into the law? I would. Personally, why not? Right? Because if he's swinging at the Kobe, he's not swinging at the Garp, he's not pushing over my Borzolino. So honestly, you're just in a good spot. But it is what it is. So we'll go ahead and see a Doflamingo come down. A Kuma. When he moved his leader sideways, my brain was like, he summoned his leader. It's crazy. So he's going to pay 4 Dawn for the Kuma summon, which is fine. We still have 6 Dawn available. We know what the top of our deck is, so we can leader ability pretty comfortably here. And I think, personally, you all in this Garp. You just tell him, your Garp is down. Garp down, my guy. So let's see if he opts to do that. He goes 8, and I do like the number 8. 8 is a solid number to go ahead and declare onto a character card, because he is 2 above, and with a 2-card hand size, if he gives him the entire hand, then he's going to be in a weird spot. Now, we've definitely sequenced the top of the deck in a bizarre way. In a way that we've summoned the 2 1-drops off the top of our deck. I like it. I'm sorry, that's too dank. So we'll go 8 at the law. At the Garp, and that should probably more than likely take care of it. And then what do we do from here? I'm okay with leaving up 2. And I think the Flamingo player is also okay with it. So we're gonna go ahead and pass it off at that point. So now we can finally see how many cards are in the Flamingo's hand. It's a 5-hander. 5-hander is really, really solid. I know that one of the cards that he got off of life was the Pacifista, which is great, but we're gonna have to make do with what we got now. We're gonna go ahead and use a Dawn under the Smoker, reducing the Bartolomeo. The Kuma's gonna then get popped by pitching another 2k, and the last card in the Smoker's hand is a blocker. And that's really about it. So honestly, you went down to 4 hand size to a 1-hander, but now you've kept the tempo because of that Pacifista, which is huge. And now the Smoker's gonna have to really turn on the gears, right? So I think these Kobe's are gonna have to go in, right? That's a lot of Dawn for Kobe. Could have gone much lower to the ground, personally. But 7's also a great number. He goes 7, 7, 7. That's going to be great. So we're going to go ahead and play the Love Beam, which will drop us down to 3, which will let us go ahead and draw a card. And then probably just 7's off of the leader. That's a bizarre attack. But I like it. This gives us a little bit more breathing room with what's going on because we're not in the greatest of spots, right? The last card in hand is a blocker, so I'm not sure if he really wants to commit it because that's also very telling. That gives him full information of hand size, and if you have full information, you can go ahead and do some pretty cheeky things. So he's going to go ahead and summon it here, opts to summon it as opposed to swinging with the Kobe. And then you can go, yeah, Kobe, get in there, my boy, go for 5. He's just going to get defended by a Perona. Okay. Now, pitching Perona doesn't always feel great, especially in situations like this where it has become... Oh, he had another one, so perfectly fine to pitch Perona. So Perona is going to give us all the information we need for the rest of the game, in my opinion, right? So this Perona is going to act as literally everything. What I think we should do this turn is take the opportunity that he has 4Ks in sideways mode with no cards in hand and use our Flamingo 1-drop to go ahead and clear one. So we'll go 4 at 4, which is just a 2-Don investment. And, you know, a 2-Don investment, that doesn't sound like a bad trade deal to me. We'll go 4 at 4. It gets removed. We'll go 7 at 4. That feels pretty bad. But we pass off of that, right? We go, and then we'll, I mean, I guess it all depends on how he chooses to react. So we have Perona information. We've only spent 1 Don thus far. We have 9 total Don to work with here, and we're definitely... What would be the absolute worst card for the Smoker player to summon off the top of the deck? Probably like a Jinbei. Jinbei would probably be very strong here. Jinbei can go ahead and just act as a card that he can't really KO, but he wants to KO because of its aggression that it provides. So Jinbei off the top would be super sick here. It would really stabilize the game state. I mean, I don't think Black is very, very ahead, especially looking at the board at this moment. You know, there are 5 characters on the Black board, but they're not really attackers. So let's see. I mean, you do have just a lot of options, and with limited hand, it's very difficult to say what exactly is the best play from a Flamingo player. So I do think the first thing you do is just 4 on 4 with the 1-drop, right? Just to... I mean, no Dawn investment is also pretty clean. I'm down. I just didn't really want to tap the Pacifista because that's just another card that he's going to all in. He's going to go 7 at the Kobe. Trigger ability. This is another one of the greats, if you will, one of the better ones it could have been. I'm going to go ahead here and grab Boa Hancock every day of the week, personally. Grab Boa Hancock. He blocks with it, which is interesting. He's gonna get the whole board. He's gonna get to eat the whole board. This Flamingo player. He's gonna grab Boa Hancock. Gonna go ahead and trigger, go 4, and then summon Boa. Okay. Now imagine this exact same play, but he didn't have a Kobe, and he swung and he used all of his Dawn. That would be 10 out of 10, personally. Maybe he has a Love Beam up and he's trying to use the Love Beam defensively, but if that's the case, I don't think that matters too much in this type of board state, right? The card that the Black player really needs, like if it's not 10-drop Kuzan, you don't care. If it's not 4-drop Kuzan, like if it is, what are the worst possible things that can happen right now? One of 2 things. 4-drop Kuzan into 4-drop Kuzan into, I don't know, a card that he keeps in hand, or 10-drop Kuzan. Since he's already attached 3 Dawn, I don't think either of those plays are happening, so we're pretty darn happy. He goes 9K at the Gecko Moria, which is a card that you may have considered to block there with the Law Blocker personally, because if you were to go ahead and go 9K again, he'd have to commit so much Dawn, and he'd have to turn his character sideways, right? So that's where the Law is an important character card, because it would allow you to punish that exact play. So that Law needed to block there for the Gecko Moria, but now since that didn't happen, his opponent has a lot of space in this particular turn, right? And I think they're just, I mean, they're talking, this is local, so they're figuring, I think they're just talking a couple things out. He didn't know exactly how much damage was coming that way, maybe. Maybe we do a little takesies, backsies. A little takesies, backsies here. Yeah, perfect. So we did a takesies, backsies into the perfect play. I love it. You love to see it. So now we're going to go ahead and see it. That's exactly going to proc the same exact thing. You're going to have to go 9. 9 onto the Gecko Moria. And if you 9 the Gecko Moria, you're really left with very little Dawn, right? And now you have a Kobe that you can just go freely attack into. So this Kobe's going to go into the Pacifista. And with, again, you have a card in hand. So he's going to use Overheat to bounce the Perona. I actually really enjoy that. That's pretty sick. And I see a Mihawk in hand. So this upcoming turn, I do foresee a wee bit of gaming. So I don't need to see the rest of the cards in the Flamingo player's hand. I just need to see exactly the Mihawk, right? So personally, you would Mihawk the Borzolino, 5 into the 4, 6 into the 4. You can even 6 into face to draw a card. Like, there's just so much you can do. Probably you can even start off with the Boa Hancock if you want, right? If you draw a card off the Boa that you think is good enough to keep, you might as well keep it, right? And you can just be as aggressive as humanly possible, and that would eventually win you the game. And that's what the Flamingo player wants to do, make you attack my characters as opposed to attack my leader. And in order for black to even come back, they're going to need a Sakazuki or another Kobe, the literal 4th Kobe, in order to even keep up with you. So honestly, you can let them trade into you all day as long as you clear into their board, because they have no rush cards. So you can play very ignorant into this matchup. So he attaches 1 Dawn into the Boa, and I like this. Oh, I just like what's going on right now. This is good. He's not going to block with his Borzolino. This Borzolino seems to be his favorite card. We're going to play the 7-drop Flamingo, which is not bad. The 7-drop Flamingo is better than the Mihawk only and if he has like another 2-costed event in hand. I think you clear the Kobe here for free. I'm going to go 7. Where is this 7 going? At the Kobe? I don't think that was necessary. So, right, if you were just going to go ahead and use the Dawn like that, you might as well have developed the Mihawk instead and bottom deck the Borzolino, as opposed to letting him just Borzolino on the following turn, right? So if that was the thought process, I don't necessarily agree with it. You could have just spent the 2 Dawn on just summoning the big homie. But that's also fine. I also would have turned my Boa Hancock sideways just to, again, draw on a card, get deeper, make it so that he has to attack my board. But that's another thing that we can... I mean, that's not here nor there. The Boa Hancock is the least of our concerns. He also does have the Love Beam, which he could have kept up as well. Could have 5'd into the Kobe. If he gives you a 2K, then you Boa Hancock into it, because you know exactly the last card in his hand is a Borzolino, which he won't give it to you. He wants to play the Borzolino. If he plays the Borzolino, then he has 6 Dawn to work with on the following turn, and 6 Dawn into leader is not enough to play around the Love Beam. So I think he would have been exactly fine there. But Sakazuki is going to come down and do exactly what what we didn't want to happen. A card that just removes characters for free. He's going to go ahead and swing with leader for 5. That's definitely not something we can just let him do. We can't just allow him to swing at leader for 5 for fun. We can't let him get that for free. But now he's out of cards in hand, so I think you swing Flamingo first. And when I say Flamingo, I mean the leader, right? Because if he blocks it with the Borzolino, he loses the Borzolino for free, and then you Mihawk the Sakazuki, and then he immediately loses the game. So he opts to go for the Perona, which once again I don't think is necessarily a card that he needs at this point in time, because you could just keep it in hand for 1k counter, if I'm being honest. It's not, at this point in time, the Perona doesn't really matter. You're just pushing Dawn aggressively. You're placing your Dawn on your characters, and you're making sure that they deal damage with every single attack. But that's fine too. I guess we're looking at our trash to make sure exactly what's left in our deck. That means a Gecko Moria is probably on the top, and Gecko Moria being on top is also humongous, right? You can set it up for Gecko Moria not on this turn, but on the following, and then you want to pick up the 1-drop law, play the 1-drop law, and then you're off to the races on this guy, man. It's crazy. Imagine this board state without a Borzolino, though, and he had the Flamingo in hand, and then it'd just be so much better. So much better. He would have had another card in hand, he would have dealt a point of damage, and then his opponent would have Sakazuki'd, and then you would Flamingo the Sakazuki, and then you'd be super gaming. Super. But it is what it is. Looks like we're setting up a couple cards at the top of our deck. Pacifist is not one we want to see. Desert Spada is not one we want to see. It looked like there was a Teach there. So that one we kind of want to see, maybe, potentially. And we have a Law. We have 1 card in hand, and that 1 card in hand is Mihawk. Why is he so afraid to tap out for Mihawk? That is not the way. Never be afraid of Mihawking, my friends. Mihawk when you have the opportunity. He will always hook it up. Yeah, Yeah, no need to over-attach Don here because the opponent has no cards in hand. I think even 5s get away with it. This is nice. Now, I like this is a play that I like. My 1-drops attack, bro. 1-drops attacking is always nice. I'm assuming he's just taking every single hit. There's no way he can defend out of any of these. He really just cannot afford to. 6. Give me a 2K? Sure. You're going to eat this one then. Gonna play a Boa Hancock, and then you can 7 again with the Flamingo, and then unless he has another 2K, that also goes through. He has the Borzolino block 2K. Damn, that goes through as well, and that's just, this is just the end of the game in my opinion. And I mean, there is a universe where the Smoker player can potentially win if he pops the Law, because there's more cards in the Flamingo player's hand than are in just a Mihawk. There are 3 cards in hand, and he has 2 up. Ooh, man, yeah, there's no way. This is a really tough turn. If I was in the Smoker player's shoes, I'd be very sad. May have taken us a little too long to see that 4-drop Kuzan. I do see it finally made its appearance. I'm going to have to play the Hina here. And playing Hina isn't terrible, but it's not necessarily accelerating our games, like our game state, which is, again, not where we want to be. Where we do want to be is 7K leader. 7K leader swinging at Boa is fine. I think that's an okay play. But once again, if he just blocks it with the Law, what is he truly afraid of? The answer is I don't know. He opts to let that one go through. And I think he's going to go 7 at... Damn, just base 7? Base 7 is tough. I don't think that's going to really get you anywhere. Into the Perona. Interesting. You know what would be a really Chad move? If the Law just blocks this. Gosh, that'd be so Chad. Just block it with the Law. Just do it. Oh, Law didn't protect Boa, but it protected Perona. You love to see it. We know where his allegiances lie. He's gonna go ahead and play Kuzan. Kuzan's gonna go ahead and draw a card, and he's hoping to have drawn exactly 2K. And even then, at 0 life, I think there's no way. There's no way out of this one. The way that I would start this lethal is by respecting Hina. You got to give Hina her respects. Right? Hina can go ahead and make some characters not be able to attack. Most importantly, the Pacifista. So I don't think that was the move. Does Hina have to have Dawn ×1? See, I haven't seen Hina being played in a bit. Interesting. And he's just going to put everything on Flamingo and slam. Flamingo slam. Oh, and yeah, he finally saw the 10-drop, but it was too late. So, yeah, the on-block set one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less, not be able to attack it. Doesn't need a Dawn ×1, and so, yeah, you definitely don't swing with Perona. Though you probably did this lethal in the most consistent way is probably put a Dawn under the Pacifista, go 7, and then see what he does with the 7K attack, right? Because he has, even though he has 2 6K blockers, he has 2 cards in hand, so it's irrelevant. So you go 7 with the, maybe you can go 8. You can put 2 Dawn into it under the Pacifista, go 8. Put 1 Dawn on the Flamingo, 8, and then he's going to be, in a position where he's giving away either his whole hand, and he's going to be losing it from that point on. I guess you could have put 1. There's a lot of ways you could have gone for a lethal there, I guess. But definitely not swinging with Perona. That was possibly the worst possible one, because you could just Hina block this 5K attack and make it so that the Pacifista can't swing, and then you just have to deal with 2 other attacks, which is the Flamingo and the Flamingo leader. And if you're able to push or defend through both of them, then I guess you stabilize and maybe even potentially win, because both of the hand sizes were very, very short. Either way, this was a very peculiar game. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed commentating. If you guys enjoyed this type of content, make sure to leave a like, a comment down below, and as always, if you guys are enjoying this type of content, make sure you check out the PPG channel for more trading card game content, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.